Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the very first trade recap here on the Free by 40 channel. If you're new here, my name's Adam. I'm a full time day trader, twin dad, and I started the channel to share the real journey towards financial freedom by the age of 40. No gimmicks, no selling courses, just raw wins, losses, and the lessons in between. Today, we're breaking down the trades from last Friday so you can see exactly what worked, what didn't, and how I'm adjusting moving forward. Getting into the first trade of the day, you can see in the top left I've already marked out my opening range, top, middle, and bottom. Price gave us a strong break to the upside toward the prior day's high. That's where I took my buy entry, with my stop already in place below. And as soon as price started moving into my favor, I was ready to trail that stop into profit. So right here we're in the green, so we're moving our sell stop up into profit, and we're going to try to trail it as close as possible. We got stopped out at $40. Not a bad start to the day. So now what I'm doing is remarking my main chart with my ORB lines. In the top left, you'll notice I had MNQ pulled up. That's the micro E-mini NASDAQ 100. For today's trades, I was actually looking to trade the full E-mini NASDAQ 100, which is in Q. For the next trade, price still hadn't pushed up into the prior day's high, and this candle closed as a doji with a longer bottom wick. That gave me enough confirmation to take another quick buy entry. Almost immediately, the trade went slightly into profit, so I placed my stop below the candle and managed it until we were in enough profit to close the stop into green. The second trade added another $95 to the P&L. Now we're watching closely as price comes back down to test the top of the 15-minute opening range. For me, this level is always worth paying attention to because once it's broken to the upside, it often flips and acts as support. I didn't want to jump in too early here, so I'm still waiting to see some confirmation. As the candles start to stall and we see buyers step back in, the bounce is the signal I was looking for. It's a simple but reliable setup, and it gives me the confidence to take another quick buy entry. I'm managing risk the same way as before, with my stop tucked underneath, ready to trail if the move extends. This one plays out nicely, giving us a clean $45 on the trade. It's not a huge win, but it's another solid piece added to the P&L. For trade number 4, I got back in pretty quickly, and at first it looked strong. Price pushed up toward $100 in profit, but the move was moving fast, and my orders didn't fill the way that I'd wanted. By the time I'd managed the position, I was only able to secure $10. Not the result I was hoping for, but a small win to keep the P&L moving forward. At this point, it felt like momentum on the push upward was starting to fade a little bit. So instead of forcing another entry, I sat on my hands and waited to see how price was going to react to the top of the orb range a second time. This level is important because if it holds the support, it can set up the next leg higher. After just one red candle, buyers stepped back in, and I hotkeyed back into a buy position with my stop placed below, ready to trail. For the next minute, I had my stop held down and followed the price pretty intently. It kept jumping up and down, and I didn't feel comfortable leaving my stop anywhere. While we're sitting through this trade, I just want to say thanks for checking out the channel. If you're not here for my TikTok, that's where I've been posting my daily recaps and a lot more content. Over here on YouTube, I'm just getting started with longer videos like this. And I plan to post them more regularly moving forward. And look, I'm going to be honest. I'm a much better day trader than I am a video editor. These are taking me way longer to put together than I originally had thought. But I'm learning as I go, and I'm going to get sharper with time. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I figure that part out. So while I was holding that stop, ready to lock in profits, thankfully the next candle, price shot up quickly, and that gave us another $60 to add on to the P&L. Moving on to trade number 6, I was still confident in our overall bullish bias and kept looking for long opportunities. Price dipped into an area that I liked, so I went ahead and entered a position. At first, it looked like it might work out, but the price action stayed pretty choppy and indecisive. After about 30 seconds into the trade, I ended up getting stopped out as price rolled back against me. That gave us our first loss of the session, closing this one out at negative $170. Going into trade number 7, I wanted to try a different way of managing my risk. Normally, I hotkey in my buy order and then add the stop afterwards. But this time I set up a bracket order with both a target and a stop built in. Price started pumping, so I shifted the bracket up to catch the pullback, but that left my stop too tight. As soon as the order gets filled, price turned around on me, and I got tagged out for a $135 loss, which puts our P&L in the red for the first time today. I'm going to take this time between this and the next trade to be clear about something. I'm not claiming to be a guru or some expert, and I'm never going to try to sell you a course. That is not the goal of this channel. What I want to do is show the real journey of trading full time. That doesn't always mean that I'm right, and honestly, that's the point. If my content can inspire one person that thought this path was not possible for him to see that I'm just a regular guy figuring out in real time, then that's worth it to me. I'm not here to pretend that I have all the answers. I'm here to document the process and hopefully show that anyone who puts in the work can give themselves a shot at this. Now, moving on to trade number 8, you can see the setup right here. We have a doji candle forming on a relatively lower volume, which leads me to signal that there might be some short opportunities coming up. I'm watching this next candle closely to see if it continues, and as soon as it drops, I hotkey into a sell order. The move comes fast, and I'm able to quickly hotkey back out with a buy to lock in $140. That puts our P&L back into the green, at least for the moment. So, right here, price is pushing back down through the top of the 15-minute opening range, and I'm watching it closely to see how it reacts to this key level. Up to this point, we've already seen it bounce off of that level twice. So, to a smart person, they might expect another bounce and look to stay long. But that's not what I did. On multiple time frames, both the RSI and the MACD were showing signals that suggested price had a good chance of continuing lower. Based on that, I went ahead and entered into a short. Instead, price snapped back hard in the other direction and stopped me out for a loss of $315. That erased the earlier gains and put us right back into the red. Also, what you just saw me do was something I know I shouldn't. I moved my stop loss into the wrong direction. All that really did was guarantee that the loss was going to be larger than it would have been had I just left it alone. The most important skill in trading is discipline. And like every other skill, it's one you have to practice at constantly. And clearly, with this loss, is one that I have to continue working on every day. For our 10th trade, I still felt like there was more downside to come. RSI across all three of my time frames was pointing short. So I decided to stick with the bearish bias and entered into a short position. As price started to drop in my favor, I went ahead and added in an additional contract, trying to claw back some of the drawdown I was sitting in. Adding size when you're in drawdown usually isn't the best risk management decision. It can dig the hole deeper just as easily as it can help you climb out. But in this case, the trade worked out and I was able to lock in $110. It's a win, but also a reminder that discipline and consistency with size matter just as much as catching the right direction. Trade number 11 came after a solid break to the downside through the top of the orb line. I entered short with 2 contracts and set my buy stop above. This trade lasted a bit longer, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't feeling uneasy while it played out. The truth is, I'd love to get to the point where every trade feels completely emotionless. That's the ultimate goal. But right now, with my family's welfare tied to my ability to succeed at trading, it does affect my psychology, even if it shouldn't. And while we're on the topic of risky things that I probably shouldn't make a habit of, you're going to see me DCA here, dollar cost averaging. That's when you're in drawdown but still confident in your position, so you add more contracts to improve your average entry price. In this case, I added another 2 contracts. With NQ, that can be extremely risky. One strong candle in the wrong direction could have blown my entire account. Thankfully, this time it worked in our favor. Price moved the way that I was expecting, and I was able to trail my stop into profit, and we ended up securing $110 on this trade, bringing our P&L back into the green. I'm going to let the rest of this trade play out in real time if you want to keep watching, but I think you've probably heard me talk enough for one video. I took 3 more trades after this, closing them out for $60, $200, and $400, all green. That brought the day to a positive $650 before commissions. Friday's session was far from ideal, and I don't want this video to come across as a beacon of the best way to trade. I know there were mistakes. I know I had errors. My goal for this is to be a sounding board for what to do better, and a reminder to always keep improving. If you want to keep following along and see how my trading journey develops, I'd love to have you tag along. I'm brand new to YouTube and honestly don't know much about the algorithm or how to reach more people. So if you could, please drop a comment below, share some words of encouragement, or even some constructive tips. The goal here is to keep this space positive. And just to close things out, Free by 40 is about showing the real journey of day trading full time. I'm not here to sell courses or act like I've got it all figured out. I'm here to share the wins, the losses, and everything in between as I work towards financial freedom by the age of 40. If that's something that you want to see more of, trade recaps, education, and even some family content and lifestyle content, hit subscribe and come along for the ride. We're just getting started, and I'd love to have you with me.